My daughter has formed insanely misogynistic views and tried to instill them into her younger sister, which ended up with her brother in jail, so I sent her to my abusive parents' house, and all I know is that they're putting her in her place, but now I'm terrified for her. I, 36F, am happily married to my husband, Luke, 37M, and a mom of 3 children whom I love so dearly, Bill, 17M, Misa, 15F, and Lily, 12F. All fake names for privacy reasons, of course. And while my husband and I still have a wonderful relationship with Bill and Lily, our relationship with Misa is very estranged, let's say. Especially since Misa had developed a very troubling personality during the last 3 years that has turned her from being the kind and sweet girl who used to treat everyone so kindly into this prejudiced, and especially misogynistic girl, who seems to be very adamant about enforcing traditional gender roles and outdated ways of thinking. And especially in the way that she had viewed women as the lesser species who should know their place. While also seemingly idolizingly crass and abusive men who act like alphas, while also believing that men who treat other people with respect and fairness are weak and too effeminate for her own liking. Which has made me and Luke's relationship with Misa very strained. Especially since Misa seems to believe that I'm a poor mother and a terrible female role model, who can't take care of her siblings properly due to not doing things her way, and how she constantly tries to take over the household and annoy her siblings with her power-tripping attitude. She believes that her father is a weak and submissive man for treating me and other people with basic respect and decency, and even getting upset when my husband shows emotions like affection toward me and his loved ones, and believes that she could constantly insult him in front of other people since she knows that he'll never be man enough to put anyone into their place. In addition to that, Misa's personality constantly caused her to clash with the rest of her family, especially with the women in our family. Or rather, the women on my husband's side of the family, whom all have very successful careers and have husbands, and one of them even having a wife, who treat them well. This seems to make Misa angry over how these weak husbands of her aunts would even dare to allow their wives to even have a job, as well as not even attempting to try to force them to be housewives like she believes that they should be. And the reason for that is that I have never talked to my side of the family ever since I eloped with my husband. Especially since my side of the family behaves exactly how Misa behaves. That my family have a very traditionalist view where they believe that women were lesser than men, and that the female in my family were treated with less respect than the men in my family. And because of that, my parents, especially my own father, were very abusive to me and my late sisters when I was growing up, while treating my only brother like the golden child. Which is why when I am seeing Misa behave in the way that she is now, it was making me feel very concerned and hurt, because she was basically reminding me of my painful childhood. And me and my husband have tried everything, talking to her, sending her to multiple different kinds of therapy, or even sending her to an all-girls school in hopes to have her be more open-minded. But nothing seemed to work. And it seemed like it reached its breaking point last month when Misa did something extremely disturbing that made me feel like I had to send her away in order to protect the rest of my children, especially my youngest daughter, Lily. Now, I won't really talk too much into details about it, since I know it would definitely go against the guidelines. But all I can say is that Misa basically set up a trap for Lily that involves a boy that had a similar mindset that could have caused Lily a lot more psychological damage than what she has now. Well, if not for my sweet son, Bill, who ended up saving his youngest sister out of that terrible mess. Even at the consequences of him being locked up in a jail, and us having to bail him out for a hefty price. But it was a moment where me and Luke couldn't be any more prouder of Bill for being the amazing brother that Lily needs. However, that incident was terrifying enough where I realized that I couldn't have Misa live in our house anymore. And especially nowhere near her sister anymore, since she's proven to be a direct threat to her own younger sister's safety and mental health. And at first, I really tried to avoid having to consider sending her away to my parents' home, since I didn't want Misa to suffer in the way that I had when I was growing up. But no one else in her paternal side of the family wanted to take Misa, especially since her parental grandparents felt that Misa's overbearing and misogynistic attitude would be too much for her sickly grandmother to deal with, and Luke's 2 sisters couldn't stand to be around Misa as well. So, feeling like it wasn't safe to let Misa stay in our home, and knowing that no one else in the family wanted to take her, me and Luke made the very difficult decision to finally contact my side of the family after being at sea for so long to see if they were willing to take Misa in. Or rather, it was Luke who was the one who was talking to them, since my parents, especially my father, refused to acknowledge my words since they believe that a woman like me shouldn't be allowed to give them demands. So, not only did that prove to me that they haven't changed one bit, but it was a mortifying and painful experience to have to make my husband be the one to make the request since they wouldn't be bothered to listen to a word that I said. And to our surprise, they actually agreed to take Misa in. But only because my husband had to beg them to, and they told them that they'll make sure to put her in her place. Which, to this day, still makes me very nauseous to remember hearing those words. And now, it's been a month since we've sent her over to my parents' house. And I feel guilty about it every day. Especially since the last time I've heard from family friends and even the neighbors that lived around my parents' neighborhood, Misa hasn't been doing very well. That I heard that she's been physically and mentally abused in the same manner that me and my late sisters used to be when we were growing up, that she's being monitored and controlled, and horrible rumors that her health has deteriorated a lot since she's moved into my parents' home. And the worst part is that me and Luke has no way of truly being able to confirm whether or not these words are true. That, whenever Luke had tried to visit them, they have always told him that Misa is not available to see him, and that they would make up some excuses about why he can't see her at the moment. And honestly, I'm fearing the worst and I'm so scared for Misa. That me and Luke have considered just calling the police to get our daughter back. But a part of me is afraid and worried about what we can do about Misa if we were to have her sent back to our home, due to me not wanting our other children to be hurt by Misa again, especially Lily, who still can't bear to be around her older sister anymore after what she and that other boy tried to do to her. I'm sorry for the long-winded story, but I feel like I need to get this out of my chest. A confession to a horrible action I did that I don't know how to even be able to fix.